Ta-da! So introducing my electric sit stand desk. It used to be a manual sit stand desk. It had a crank which looked like this. Had this handle. This hex rod over here goes underneath the tabletop where you see the copper hex rod now. That's where it used to sit. It can turn clockwise and anti-clockwise and would get stuck at the lowest position or at the highest position, obviously. Now that moves this rod over here to get the one of the legs moving up, and the similar with the other side. So basically this one rod turns the entire thing in synchronous up and down. What I needed was a motor which could lift that weight. So I did calculate the torque very roughly. It was about just shy of 30 kg of CM. Now the handle was basically 13 centimeter in length. The force required was a little less than 2.5, probably 2.3 or something. So I looked up online on Alibaba, got this motor over here, which is a 12 volt DC motor. I chose that very specifically so that I can use a charger. It does 30 RPM. The reason I chose that was because it did give a stall torque of 70 kg of CM and a load torque of 36 kg of CM. So I thought that should be enough. I wanted to be a little on the higher side because you never know. It could just be delivering a little less, and then the motor is completely useless. It won't be able to lift or bring the table down. Now the arrangement, it's very simple. So the motor by itself is a high RPM motor which is connected to the planetary gear here, which should ideally produce less noise, but as you would hear, it doesn't. It is quite noisy. And when it does rotate, both while going up and down, it probably does around 27 RPM, which is pretty decent. The no load RPM is 30, which implies I could have gone for a little higher RPM, maybe 50-60 RPM. It could have done the job and it would have been faster, but got this, no other choice now, so I thought I'll deal with this. Now what it came with was a 6 mm shaft. So the shaft which originally came with the planetary gear was 6 mm. I chose a shaft coupler. I'm actually sorry, it's actually 8 mm shaft, and this is a 8 mm hex rod, but the diameter of the 8 mm hex rod is more closer to 9. So this shaft coupler here does a 8 mm to 10 mm translation. There is a little slack in between, which is good because then I don't have to actually precisely align it. It does the job more or less fine. Now this motor, these are the two inputs, the positive and negative, but they change. This goes into this box here, this enclosure, which is nothing but got a laptop charger. Initially I was using 5 amps, then I moved down to 1.2 amps. Actually even the stall torque here is not very high. It's able to move up and down. It's just that I shouldn't probably keep it in the locked position and try and move down further, because that's when it will probably burn. We don't want that. So what it's got is, this is a car electric window up down switch, which is a DP/DT switch. It reverses the poles, so the output going to the motor can go from positive negative on one terminal to negative positive. So basically it flips that around, and in the current resting position it is off. So it's basically an on off on switch, and as I said, it's connected via a laptop charger, which is 1.2 amps, which is all enclosed in this box. This is cut to spec, and well, roughly doing the cutting. And there are 2 wires that come out here, might be able to see, one of which goes to the motor, the other one goes to the power point here. So this is an extension box which I have mounted there, and that's all there is. So let's have a look at it in operation. So there, it's going up. It's pretty loud. And not too fast, but does the job. So down here, if we look at it, so this is when it is turning up, and this is when it is turning down. You could see the way the motor is moving. It's really fast in the motor, and via the planetary gear it turns down to 30 rpm, more or less, like 27 rpm. So that's my little project on Electric Sit Stand Desk.